Right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Foreign Service Institute's Mabini Dialogue series. Today, we are going to tackle a very timely issue. As you well know, it's monsoon season once again in our part of the world, and the rainy weather seems only to set the mood for this afternoon's theme, which is developing disaster risk reduction and management. Before I give the floor to our distinguished speakers, allow us to show you a short video as an introduction to the topic of the day.
Natural disasters can happen anytime and anywhere. And recently, the Philippines and Japan experienced catastrophic disasters. Both countries are bombarded by strong typhoons year after year. And the Philippines experienced the full wrath of Super Typhoon Yolanda in 2013. And both countries are located in the part of the globe that is prone to powerful earthquakes, explosive volcanic eruptions, and surging tsunamis. Like back in 2011, when Japan was rocked by the Great East Japan earthquake and tsunami. The Philippines and Japan have made great efforts. New DRRM law and plans were formulated in the Philippines, and great efforts are being made to share lessons and experiences. The partnership between the Philippines and Japan has a long and storied history, and this partnership has to be empowered to face future disasters. The fury of natural disasters always left deep scars, and people have to consider how to be prepared for the next big thing. And JICA is helping build a strong society based on the Build Back Better concept, implementing pre-disaster infrastructures to reduce the impacts to economy and human life. This is why JICA's new strategy is not to limit itself to the establishment of a just, resilient nation, but a safe and resilient Philippines. JICA lays out 3 priority actions for cooperation. Action 1, promote understanding of disaster risk. Action 2, strengthen disaster risk governance. Action 3, invest in mitigation and preparedness. And 2 strategic considerations to always take into account. Strategic consideration 1. Mainstream DRRM in development to ensure sectoral expansion. Strategic consideration 2. Tailor-made solutions using specific local context to ensure regional expansion. To reduce disaster risk in order to protect persons, communities, and country by reducing losses in lives and livelihood, and help the realization of a long-term vision of a safe and resilient Philippines. To achieve Ambisyon Natin 2040 and establish a safe and resilient Philippines, the partnership between the Philippines and Japan will keep going strong.
I hope the video has somehow energized your interest in the topic for this afternoon. So allow me to introduce our key speaker. We are fortunate enough to have with us a distinguished speaker coming from one of our most efficient neighbor countries in terms of disaster risk reduction and management. He is a first-class civil engineer, works execution managing engineer. He received his degree from the Department of Civil Engineering at the Sensunan University and has since been working for the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, Transport, and Tourism of Japan. He is currently an assistant manager of the Kinki head office of the ministry and also serves as an advisor on the introduction of Japan DRR experience to the Philippines. He also works to promote Japan International Cooperation Agency, or JICA's DRRM activities. His extensive background has garnered him valuable experience on different fields, including dam development projects, housing projects, and disaster operations. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause to our key speaker for this afternoon, Mr. Zenmoto Takanori.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Takanori Zenmoto. I'm JICA expert for disaster risk reduction and management. So I came here this June, end of June, I came here. So this is short time, so but I enjoy Philippines. I like Philippines. I like Philippine food, some culture. So today, I'd like to explain policy vision on rebuilding consensus societies in Japan. So these are today's contents. At first, various river improvement in Japan. Second, I will explain preparation for large-scale floods. Summary. So first of all, I will explain various river improvement in Japan. So Japan has carried out numerous river improvements ever. So they include channel widening, levee construction and reinforcement, and riverbed dredging. So these pictures are, I'm sorry. So river, that one, channel changing. So this is a former river, old river. This is new river. So we changed channel, new river. So this is channel widening. This is new levee. This is current levee. We will change river widening. So this is levee construction, new levee. So next one is this is floodway. This is a Yodo River floodway. So it was completed in 1910, about 100 years ago, completed. So there is a big city, Osaka, along the river. So as you know, Universal Studio Japan is here. So here is castle, Osaka Castle. So constellation, some property. So important places. So it is originally small winding rivers. Long time ago, small winding rivers were flowing in Osaka city. So yellow line is new river. So the Yodo River became drastically safe long time ago. So this picture is around here. So look at this. The big typhoon hits this area the day before yesterday. So this Tuesday. So storm surge was amazing. However, the Yodo River did not flood. So this picture is this Tuesday. This picture is around here. So normal day like this, but many flooding. But Osaka is safety. So this is a Tsurumi River multi-purpose returning basin. So in case of flooding, flood water, this is river, flood water flow into this area, returning basin area. So it mitigates in lower area, lower reaches lower edge safety flow into this area. And normally, we use this area. It's used for park and stadium. Normally, we use this area. So this is recurring basin. So and we make this is underground discharge channel, which is contrastic under urban city. This is urban city underground discharge channel. So this is a super levee. So the super levee is high standard river embankment, like this. So even if the water, flood water is overtopped, water does not break the levee. So very strong. And it also creates a comfortable urban environment. So on the river, on the levee. So this is a project as if it relates to that day. Actually, we make a big river, big levee, but this is a project as if it relates the lake. So this is lake, relates the lake. So there is no dike breakup because there is no dike, and also no dike means no maintenance, free maintenance. So this is a good project. So in Japan, I was in charge of this project. So this is dam. Japan has a lot of dams, many dams. There are 2,639 dams, many dams. So now, Japan, dam redevelopment project under there is a dam redevelopment project. So for effective use of existing dams. So this is Amagase Dam redevelopment project. I was also in charge of this project. So it constructs new tunnel facilities, new tunnel, big tunnel, 23 meters, very big tunnel facilities for so that enhancement of outflow capacity. So then here I will explain the effect of a river project. So it's the case in Niigata Fukushima area. So there was a big flood in 2004. There was a big flood. After heavy rain, build back better was implemented in this area. So July 2011, a heavy rain fell again. So it was 1.6 times increase. So 2004 rainfall, 2011 rainfall, many rainfall. But the damage, however, damage was drastically reduced. So as you can see, building damages, 96% reduction. Dead or missing person, 92% reduction. So out of effect. So this graph cooperation diagram. So this is a DRR investment increase. This is a number of casualties decrease. So this is DRR investment and GDP growth. So this is DRR investment is increasing. It is increasing to GDP growth. So slope, both slopes are the same. So Japan implemented a lot of measures. So to drain flood water safety and efficiently, the river administrator will improve river channels and construct floodway, retiring basin area, and so on. A lot of things. So the safety level of flood control has improved steadily, but this is obvious things. So it's no wonder. So there is important things, other important things. So what I want to say, so I will explain it in the next part. So next, preparation for large scale flood. So I want to say this. So Japan also recognized that large-scale floods exceeding the capacity of facilities are certain to happen. Large-scale floods, So the flood measure so far focused on improvement of river facilities. So as you know, when constructing the facilities, we must set up the target upper limit. We have to set up a target. So it's set by the frequency of disaster occurrence and disaster scale with the budget. So each facility has an upper limit. All facilities has upper limit. So therefore, large-scale floods beyond the capacity of facilities are inevitable. So river administrators in Japan promote measures for flood risk reduction throughout whole society to eliminate delays in evacuation and minimize economical damage. So whenever, even when such large-scale flooding occurs. So it is important to recognize the facility response level, level for scale, DRRM. So now, Japan formulated a new policy vision on rebuilding flood consensus societies on December 2015. So about 3 years ago, we made a new policy. So we set up the joint councils. So Philippines has the same councils. So set up the joint council by relative stakeholders. So in each region, all region, so we have to share the goal for mitigation and promote the structural or non-structural measures in cooperation. So number one and number two are structural measures. So number 3 is non-structural measures. It is working with residents' perspective. So what's new? The policy, new policy vision. So point 1, non-structural measures, more effective non-structural measures from the residents' perspective. So we focus on residents' perspective. So point 2, structural measures, adapting structural measures for crisis management. It's new method, crisis management, in addition to structural measure for outflow prevention. So in addition. So point 3, combined effort of whole local communities. So establishing joint committees of river administrators, prefectures, and municipalities to promote both structure and non-structure measures integrally and systematically. So it is important whole local communities. So point 1, about point 1, a non-structural measure. So the relevant organization will focus on non-structural measures from the perspective of residents. So it is important for residents to evacuate voluntarily. So key point 2, structural measures for crisis management. The river administrator will promote structural measures for crisis management. So this is a project to secure the evacuation time. We need evacuation time. So this project, about this case, we can make evacuation time. So this project, the measure this project distance is 1,800 kilometers, very long distance. So, but the project will be completed in about 5 years. So by 2020. So in the case, this is a levee crest protections. So we get the time for evacuation by a levee crest protections. So we can not protect all flood waters. So this is just evacuation time. So this is a rear slope to reinforcement. So also we get the time for evacuation by rear slope this project. So key point 3. This is a joint committee. It is established by relevant organizations. So the committee draw up a practical local action plan. So there is committees. We can make 347 committees. There are many committees. The committees established in all areas in Japan. So we already have make these committees. the committees were publishing and sharing the result of activities nationwide on the internet. So as of now, there are 153 cases on internet. So there are cases of activities. So they consider the river disaster prevention with local residents. So this is a crisis management type water level gauge. So now we are promoting this project. Installation of water level gauge, which are low cost, space saving, and maintenance free. So it's convenient. So I think I also recommend installing such a sensor in the Philippines, in this country. So this is summary. So the facility has an upper limit for design. So large-scale flood is inevitable that exceeds the capacity of facilities. So it's important to eliminate delays in evacuation and minimize economical loss. So combined effort of 4 local communities so that rebuilding flood-conscious societies. So each local government that understands the characteristic of region creates its strategic plan with own hand under the support of the nation. Thank you. My name is Sanato.
Thank you very much, Zamato-san. Now we go to our discussant for this afternoon. Our discussant for this afternoon is similarly distinguished. She has been serving as a training specialist at the Department of National Defense since 2015. She earned her degree in nursing from the Emilio Aguinaldo College and her Master of Arts degree in Public Health from the University of the Philippines, where she is also currently pursuing her PhD in Public Health. She also received postgraduate training in both Australia and Malaysia and has served many years as a nurse, as a training officer, and advocacy and promotion officer. She also worked as a health education and promotion officer for the Department of Health and as a policy development and research focal point person of the department's health emergency management staff. Our discussant also delivers lectures on risk and crisis communication at different institutions such as the University of the Philippines and Miriam College. Please let's give a warm applause to our discussant for this afternoon, Director Susana G. Wangkor.
Good afternoon, everyone. Seeing the presentation of Mr. Zumoto Takanui, of course, it's beyond compare with that of the Philippines. But because they have all the financial aspects when it comes to having those structural and non-structural development. But what we have here in the Philippines is with regards to developing the system when it comes to disaster risk reduction and management. So in the Philippines, we have established the Philippine Disaster Risk Reduction Management System, or which is the Republic Act 10121. Ito yung, this is the DRRM, Philippine Disaster Risk Reduction Management System of 2010. However, because there is a in the law it says that every 5 years the law should be there should be a sunset review when it comes to the law. So now it's being reviewed, and yesterday we had the first plenary session at the Congress for the Philippine Disaster DDR, Department of Disaster Resilience. So, yun. And however, yesterday afternoon, the first plenary session was suspended because there were several sponsors for the bill. So what we had, what they did was to have all the bill from the four or five congressmen to be incorporated. So we will be having another plenary session. So the Philippine Disaster Risk Reduction Management System of 2010 might be, if luck is within us, perhaps it will be approved, sabi nila, baka this year, because it is a priority bill of the present administration. Now, what we have, now that we have the Philippine Disaster Risk Reduction Management System, what do we have now? One, it's just like with JICA. First, with the help of JICA in 2012, we had developed, as what Mr. Zemonto Tecanoria said, we need the whole of local community, or that of the barangay or the local government units taking care or doing the disaster risk reduction management system. So with the help of Japan in 2012, that they went to the Office of Civil Defense for a project. So we developed the community-based disaster risk reduction management system. So that is 2012. And from 2012 until now, we are doing the training on community-based disaster risk reduction management system, and community-based disaster risk reduction management training. So it's a 3-day training which is being given to the barangays, to the local government units, training them on how to do the risk assessment for each of the barangays, for each of the local government units, and from then on develop their own barangay disaster risk reduction management plan based on the risk assessment that they have done. Now, it's a 3-day training being given to them, and it was also one of the when we had the budget hearing, one of the congressmen from Ilocos Sur, if you can still remember, if you were able to read the newspaper, Ilocos was one of the greatly hit by the Habagat this last month. So the provinces that were greatly hit were Calasiao in Pangasinan, and also Dagupan City. So there was so much flooding in this area. It was not because of the typhoon, but it's because of the Habagat. Now, the good congressman asked, how many of the barangays have already been trained when it comes to community-based disaster risk reduction management? Now, it is sad that not all barangays have been trained on CBDRM because there are only a few people trained on, or trainers that we have in CBDRM. But nevertheless, we're going to that. Now, after the CBDRM, what do we have when it comes to the Philippine Disaster Risk Reduction Management System? We have the National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Plan. The National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Plan is the national plan when it comes to disaster risk reduction management. Now, each of the local government units need to develop their local disaster risk reduction management plan. That's from the province to the municipality to the city and to the barangay through the CBDRM. Now, also, when it comes to the plan or the establishment of the plan that we have, because in the PDRMS we have 4 thematic areas. We have the prevention mitigation, we have the preparedness, the response, and the rehabilitation recovery. Now, each of this thematic area has its vice chair. For the prevention and mitigation, it's the DOST. So DOST is the one in charge to, just like the presentation of Mr. Zemonto here. They are the one in charge when it comes to developing the early warning system. So if you can still, kung nakakatanggap kayo, if you're receiving the text messages, nakakatanggap mo kayo, yung maingay yung sobrang, kahit natutulog kayo, gigisingin kayo. Diba? Yun. So that's in partnership, NDRMC with that of the DIPC. So yun yung in partnership natin with them. So ito yung sasabihin sa inyo, yung rainfall warning, kung saan siya. So yun. So that's the early warning system. That's one of the early warning system that we have. So use SMS for the people to know. Parang you'll be able to know what kind of rainfall do we have. Yung pala dito. Is it yellow, orange? Do you know the definition of the color? Yellow pagka okay lang, pag orange pagka kailangan na lumangoy, ayun. Red pagka talagang kailangan mag-dive, yun. Yun yung ibig sabihin yung warning na yung color warning na. Now, also when it comes to prevention and mitigation, we're also doing the PDRA. It's the Pre-Disaster Risk Reduction Assessment. So I mean, what is being done when it comes to PDRA? We're looking into the track, if it is the typhoon, we're looking to the track of the typhoon. Kailan siya, when will it be entering the Philippine air responsibility, and when will be the landfall? So, and then if it is already been identified, then there is the preparation for each of the local government units where the landfall of the said typhoon will be. So that's the PIDRA. So it's already on the preparedness of whatever these local government units will be doing. Now, that's for the natural disaster. When it comes, that's for the typhoon. Now, when it comes to earthquake, ano naman yung what are we doing? Of course, all of you are familiar with the big one that might be happening here in Metro Manila. Are you aware that DFA, if and whenever the West Valley Fault movement will happen, the 7.2 magnitude earthquake, all of you are vulnerable when it comes to injury and whatever casualty. So you need to leave DFA. Why? Kasi nandiyan lang yung ilog dyan. And if this is a liquefaction area, so yun. First question, have you tried to make a structural assessment of your building here?
Yes.
What is the result? Is it safe? Okay. Is it safe? Okay, good. Okay. Have you done, do you already have your disaster control group here in the FA? Have you organized your disaster control group here in the FA? It's a different thing.
It should be here.
But they have the disaster control group. Do you have? Okay, good. You have. Now, are these disaster control group identified, and do they know where will be, because you're having the drill, kung saan yung exit points na here? Where is your evacuation area? In front of the building. Okay. Which is this? That is for the West Valley Fault movement. But if it will be the movement of the Manila Trench, it will be a tsunami. Okay. So all you have to do is to pray. So you need to run. Do not walk, you need to run. Run as fast as you can. So run. Run as far as even farther than Taft Avenue. So yun. Okay. November 5 is World Tsunami Day. So try to run on November 5. Okay, so that's for the earthquake. We have the Metro Manila Earthquake Impact Reduction Study, where we're upgrading it. We're now doing the GMMIRS. It's the Greater Metro Manila Earthquake Impact Reduction Study, which would be including the Region 3 and Region 4A, because the West Valley Fault is from Region 3, it's Bulacan, until as far as Cavite area. So that's why Region 3, Metro Manila, and that of Region 4A, that's what we're doing now. We're looking into the vulnerability and what can be done to reduce the impact of the movement of the West Valley Fault. So it's the GMMR. It is being done now. And also with the earthquake, we're doing the nationwide simultaneous earthquake drill, which you're doing. So it's being done every first day of the second month of the quarter at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So you might be asking, why 2 o'clock in the afternoon? Why not 10 o'clock? Why not 11 o'clock? Will the earthquake be happening only at 2 o'clock? Hindi naman, di ba? So we're doing, first, we did that every morning, right? So now we're doing it in the afternoon. So who knows, maybe in the near future we'll be doing it at 10 o'clock in the evening. So ganun siya. So all of you will be participating. Now why 2 o'clock? Because we wanted to build the muscle memory of each and every one of the Filipino. What is that muscle memory that we wanted to build? One, it's the duck cover and hold. That whenever there will be an earthquake, we need to do the duck cover and hold. Second, after the duck cover and hold, we need to evacuate. So that's the muscle memory that we wanted to do. Now, how do you do the duck cover and hold? Siyempre, hanap nung mahahawakan. Duck, yung just like the duck. Yung saan merong matatabo yung to cover your head. Cover yun. And then hold is you need to hold talaga. Why do you have to hold? Because it's an earthquake, so pwedeng gumalaw yung hinahawakan nyo. So you have to hold para hindi siya aalis sa inyo. Yun sinabing duck cover and hold. Now, when you leave the premises, diba, ang unang tinuturo is you still have to do like this. Diba? Yung ganon. Kailangan may protection pa rin. That can be done kung nandun pa rin sa building. But when it's already outside the building and then the building is safe from falling debris, hindi na kailangan. Why? And kung meron kayong magagawa na talagang nako-cover lang yung head ninyo, pwedeng basahan just like what is being given to the children, it's better. Why? Because kailangan free yung ating hands kung ano man yung mangyari. So, that's the reason for that. So, pag nasa labas na, wala na yung cover kung wala na falling debris na pwedeng nandun. So yun yung ating for the earthquake. So that's for the answer. So because we wanted to have the muscle memory para doon. Para kung lumindol, or any movement for that matter, alam na natin agad, muscle memory, ito na yung gagawin para natin. So that's for the earthquake. Now, when it comes to looking into the functionality, another system that we're developing is to have the public service continuity plan for each of the national government agency. The DRRM through the OC had already issued a memorandum that all national government agencies should develop their public service continuity plan. The question is, meron na po ba ang DFA? Public Service Continuity Plan. What is a Public Service Continuity Plan? It is the plan in order for you to return to your functional state after the disaster. So, ito yung immediate return to the function. Looking into your mission essential functions, it's bringing back into functionality the mission essential function. So, it's developing the public service continuity plan. If you still do not have your public service continuity plan, I think merong nagka-attend ng training on public service continuity plan. We're still doing the training on PSCP, and you can also ask for technical assistance for you to develop your public service continuity plan. The OCD, you just have to write the OCD, our office, and then we're bringing in people here for you to develop your public service continuity plan, because there is already a directive for that. So another one is the contingency plan. So it's looking into the worst case scenario. We have the NDRMP. In the NDRMP, we have the preparedness plan, the response plan. Now, even whenever the response plan fails, worst case scenario will be doing the contingency plan. So it is better if DFA can have the contingency plan para mas maganda kung anong gagawin natin para to. Now, next to that, when it comes to having just like what Mr. Zomoto said, they have their water level gauge. Medyo high-tech yun, hindi lang medyo. It is really high-tech yun sa kanila, di ba? Tayo we also have our water level gauge. We have one in Marikina. Yung nakaguhit dun sa ano. At least it stays water level gauge. Diba? Tapos when it reached the level, the critical level, tumutunog to the whole of barangay that will be affected by that. And in the last Habagat, and even before, kasi Marikina had a lesson learned that of Ondoy. So doon siya nag-start yung water level gauge nila na yon. And since the water level gauge that they had, ang dami nila say, remember, yung the last Habagat, ito lang huli yung nangyari. We have almost zero casualty in Marikina. Meron lang isang namatay. Alam niyo yung reason why namatay yung tao? It is because yung motorsiklo niya, the motorcycle that the person has, nandun na siya dun sa baha ba? It's already being flooded yung kanyang motorsiklo. Now, because kailangan niya iligtas yung motorsiklo, niligtas niya yung motorsiklo, nakaligtas yung motorsiklo, siya hindi. At least, naligtas yung motorsiklo. Nagawa yung purpose niya. Yun nga lang siya, hindi siya nakaligtas. Yun. So, yun sana. Sana is a zero casualty. But San Mateo, is also devastated, just like in Marikina, 0 casualty. So, yun yun. Because what did they do? What we're doing now in the Philippines is the preemptive evacuation. So we're doing good, at least, when it comes to preemptive evacuation. Because before, when it comes to preemptive evacuation, nagiging forced evacuation yung what we're doing. Yung bang kailangan mo talagang hilahin yung mga tao for them to evacuate. But now it's good that we're doing the preemptive evacuation. People now know where their evacuation centers are. So yun ganda. Just like what happened in Bicol when it comes to the Mayon, nung nag-alboroto si Mayon, kasi hindi ko alam baka na-engage siya. So, hindi talaga si Mayon eh. Pagka merong papapansin din siya, parang yung isang, noong araw, hindi mo papansin. Yun siya. So, we have the water level gauge. So, meron tayo, just like in Japan. So, now, when it comes to what they have, that yun sa kanilang strategy, yun sa kanilang mga tinataas, we also have that in the Philippines. We also have the program for there. That's the CLUB. It's the Comprehensive Land Use Program. So, ano tong CLUB? It's the zoning system. So, permits are being given by the MGB as to where and if you are allowed and if it is right for you to have your houses or your building constructed in that area. So ito yung zoning part, ito yung clue. Kaya lang, you know, here in the Philippines, you know. Kaya nga, di ba, the building in the department store in who has been, how many of you have been in Cagayan de Oro? Meron ng the big department store there. Bakit bumabaha sa Cagayan de Oro City? It's because of the department store na dapat wala siya doon. Tinayo siya kung saan nandoon yung daan, ano yun eh, dating kanal, sinarado niya. Doon dumadaan dapat yung tubig. So, tinayo siya doon. Alam niyo na kung bakit siya nakatayo. Kung paano nangyari yun. Ngayon siya. Okay, buti na lang hindi niya maintindihan kasi Tagalog yung sinabi ko. Kasi nakakahiya. Okay, now, each of the local government units has its best practices. What is the OCD doing when it comes to that? We have the Gawad Kalasag, wherein all the best practices of the local government units, all the other volunteers, and all other people who are having good practices when it comes to disaster risk reduction management system are being recognized. So that's through our Gawad Kalasag. So it's one way of advocacy to the local government units and the other DRRM practitioners for them to continue doing their good practices when it comes to disaster risk reduction and management. So in the Philippines, we might not be having those DRRM projects as prestigious as the one in Japan, but we have the system here. And it's a very good thing that with the help of Japan here, with the help of the people from the China, through the JICA, they're giving us now again program. There's another program now with the help of JICA. That's a continuation of the CBDRM. And another one is looking into the analysis or the monitoring of the local disaster risk reduction management plan of the local government unit. So that's the part 2 of the project that JICA is giving the Office of Civil Defense now. So again, we have the system now here in the Philippines. It's the Philippine Disaster Risk Reduction Management System of 2010, and hopefully by maybe this year, this sailing year, or next year, it will now be the Department of Disaster Resilience. So I think that's all for the Philippines for the PDRM. Thank you very much.